So Charles, what's the difference between Earth and Mars, mate?
No footy on Mars.
No footy, yeah, that's true.
No politicians
And
either.
no bloody politicians, yeah, that's it. Oh, the other big difference, Charles, is that Mars doesn't have any topsoil. Earth has a topsoil, and the topsoil contains soil carbon, and that's what we all rely on, life on Earth. So your topsoil will contain a certain amount of carbon, and there's a bit of a story as to how that carbon gets in your soil and how much your soil is going to have. So the first part of the carbon store in your topsoil is what we call primary production, which all relies on photosynthesis. So plants photosynthesize, and by that they grab carbon from the air and turn it into carbohydrates. So they transform it from a gas to plant material, to leaves, roots and mulch on the surface. And the first part of your carbon equation is how much plant material you're actually growing. So the first part of the carbon story in your topsoil is how much your plants are photosynthesizing and bringing in organic matter which contains carbon. The second part of your carbon story in the soil is what we call respiration. All the organic carbon that the plants have created and is now in your topsoil or as litter on the surface, most of it tends to break down over time, releasing nutrients and helping all the soil life, but the carbon in that material goes back in the air through respiration. We breathe out carbon dioxide every day when we eat our breakfast carbohydrates, and the soil life does the same. So this is where the carbon in the soil gets turned back into a gas. And the third part of the carbon story in our topsoils is what we call humification, or the formation of long-term soil carbon we call humus. This is where some of our organic matter like litter and root volume breaks down, and instead of disappearing through respiration back into the air, it transforms into a stable long-term form of carbon which is really beneficial for water holding and soil structure. This part of your soil carbon we call humus, and it's the third part of your soil carbon equation. It's important to have enough carbon in your soil for a number of reasons. Firstly, it helps you build soil structure. Secondly, it helps cycle the nutrients in your soil. And thirdly, it helps the soil biology, which we rely on for so many different processes on the planet, gives them enough food source so that they can remain happy and healthy. So you need plenty of carbon for your topsoil. Without carbon in our soil, our planet would look something like Mars.